Hello everybody, I'm Duan from Institute of Oceanology, Chinese Academy of Science. First, I should extend my thanks of Dr. Ala who gave the opportunity to participate in this workshop. Either I will extend my thanks to the local organizer and supporter for this workshop.
Today, the topic of my presentation is the present status and trends of carrageenan production in China. And this will co-work with Dr. Zhang and me from Institute of Oceanology, Chinese Academy of Science. And my topic will contain mainly two parts. One is in cucumber farming in China, another is carrageenan production in China. Basically, carrageenan we use the mainly four types for the extraction of carrageenan. One is copper types carrageenan, which is mainly from Candaras crispus. Another is a copper ficus, we just used to be cottony. And the rest of two is Incuma spinosum, we used to be spinosum, and Cuma galactis for lambda types carrageenan extraction. And generally, there are 9 species of Cuma, which mainly distributed in Hainan, Xisha, and Taiwan province in China. And for Kappa and Cuma, which are mainly distributed in Hainan Island, and these two species are mainly farmed in Hainan Islands early in 1980s. And especially for Incuma, street tram were introduced from Philippines early in 1985. In the last 1960s, Professor Xia conducted first work on the biogeographic and biodiversity study, which collected from Hainan, Taiwan, and Xizang Island. And after that, Professor Wu in our institute first introduced the Incuma stratum from Philippines, and his team studied the ecological experimental study and cultivation measures trials in sandy area in Qinghai County in Hainan. And finally, the raft vertical culture measures were adopted and applied in Qinghai County in Hainan province. And after that, especially in 2000, there are several projects conducted, but finally no successful work were achieved. And compared with cultivation measures in Indonesia and the Philippines, which termed as fixed farming measures, raft and fruiting measures, or root measures. In China, we use four measures. One is the bottom seasoning method, or through seasoning method, or sediment frame cultivation method, or raft or floating method. Actually, for the first of two, the advantage is effective with a low cost, and for the rest of two, with high yield but high costs. And for the equipment farming area, especially output, from 2016, it's about 5,000 tons a year, and in Hainan, it's nearly about half of the total China output. Until 2019, it decreased into 400 tons a year. And this was a paragraph of the equipment farming area in whole China and in Hainan. And you can obviously see that in 2014, it reached about at least 5,000 tons a year. Till recent years, it will minimize into 400 tons a year. And for the culture area in Hainan, it's located in these three areas. And in Kumar contribution for annual output, it about count about 13% compared with that of Australia. And the reasons for decrease of income output we considered is that first is unfavorable cultivation condition because in these at least 10 years with the high or rapid development of coastal areas, especially on economy, the nutritional supplementation or seawater exchange is highly changed, and this will result in the field cultivation were undesirable for this tropical seaweed. Another is the radish, high in nomination will cause some disease occurrence. Second is the regeneration of incuma is a good feeder for the basket fish, and this will cause huge deminimize within short time for these small fish. And three is ice disease occurrence will either occur. And fourth, finally, is the cost consideration because in this year the cost for sea farmer is gradually rising, and the steel price do not change greatly. So this will increase the labor costs. Well, what do not inactivity the local sea farmer would likely conduct a large-scale cultivation. This was quite different from that case Indonesia or Philippines. So still, the new strains development for fast-growing or high quality of carrageenan or resistant to ICDs still are highly needed. Second is the parameters of optimization is very important. And for the cultivation, we still consider both ecological and environmentally friendly. And one of the students at our institute conducted some work on the isolation of protoplasm from carbohydrate with the induction of PEG solution, and because it was very important for the reproduction of this type of red algae. One is unsexual sexual reproduction, another is sexual reproduction. Actually, unsexual production is very important and effective for the large-scale cultivation. Another is protoplasm and indoors cultivation or nurturing of some zollus-like tissue will be another candidate or alternative choice for the new cultivars seedlings. So these some parameters comparisons, for example, the survival rate or germination rate or some colors formation or new buds germination rate. And this was some tissue culture observation under different conditions. And this was the morphological change of Cavaphycus zollus and new birth in culturing from the 15th till the 35 days. And this was some photosynthetic or rate or respiratory rate in 10 days of the culturing. Now back to the carrageenans. Carrageenans are ammonic polysaccharides with higher molecular weight, which is extracted from different species of red seaweed, such as Chondrus, gigatina, or incuma. It preserves some antiviral, immunomodulation, anticoagulant, or antioxidant properties. And generally, there are carb types, lambda types, or alpha type carrageenans were used in our markets. Earlier in 1960s, Professor Shi extracted carb type carrageenan from incuma, which collected in Hainan, proved that it was good raw materials for the large-scale extraction. And he conducted many detailed works on the alkali treatment with under different concentrations, and finally testify some production rate, strength of the gel, and other parameters. And in general, carrageenan can be defined as a two types of products. One is carrageenan, another is semi-purified carrageenan. This will depends on the extraction method. For semi-refined products, it's comparatively cheaper because of its simplified treatment with alkali. And for the ordinary carrageenan products, it's more expensive because it's a complex process. And this was the processing protocols of the carrageenan, from the raw materials to the alkali treatment and for the neutralization and then drying and milling and the semi-refined products we got it because this was and generally conducted lower content of water percentage. And with that acidification and bleaching or extraction and filtering, after that cooling, acidating, freezing, and dehydration, we finally get the carrageenan products. While to the quality detect, we use to velocity, transparency, fitness, and bacteria index for testify the qualities of each carrageenan. For the application of carrageenan, we used to be use it as a food industry, dairy products, cosmetic, household products, and pet food application. And recently, the new carrageenan derived products, for example, high water retention carrageenan and high acid resistant carrageenan were used. Now back to the China market for the sale of the products. And 2030, it reached about 11,000 tons a year. And till 2080, it reached about 30 tons a year with annual growth rate about 12%. And the main types is copper type carrageenan, and rest is lambda and alpha type. For the sale values in 2030, it's only about 550 million yuan. Until 2018, it reached about 16,000 yuan with growth rate about 14%. Well, it will be grows gradually till they're nearly about 30,000 yuan in the near future. For the price of carrageenan, generally it would not grow very rapidly. Look, this 2030 is about 62,000 Hong Kong dollars a ton. Till 2008, it's about 81,000 Hong Kong dollars a ton. And it's estimated in the future it will become stable comparatively in between 67 Hong Kong dollars a ton to 62,000 Hong Kong dollars a ton. Now trace back to global trade of the carrageenan. So far, China occupies 55% in the world or global market, with a total volume of 155 kilotons a year, now becomes the largest export, while to the largest import is America, which occupies 17%. Well, to the export and value of carrageenan in China, it reached about 11,000 tons in 2030, now reach about 60 thousand tons in 2018, with annual growth rate about 8%. And Spain and the Philippines now are the main contributor of our market. Now back to the prospects of market. Generally, see, there are high or huge needs of these products for market consideration because downstream carrageenan-derived industries are still expanding, and industry breakthrough in raw hydrocolloid application are now very, very active. And second is the cost consideration because labor cost is very important. From 2030, for one person or employee, it will only about 46,000 yuan a year, and now it become nearly 70,000 yuan in 2008. This was very important. Another is the average annual unit import price for raw material. Generally, it becomes stable or minus. For example, for spinosum, in 2012, it only about seven, nearly about 8,000 Hong Kong dollars a ton, and now 2008 it reached about 6,000 with a minus growth rate, while to coordinate it was 9,000 Hong Kong dollars a ton, now to the 15,000 tons US dollar a ton with growth rate of 8%. These are the five major carrageenan producers in China and their market share, of which the first one is about 500, nearly 600 million yuan a year, with the market share about 35. And these were total sale tons and sale values. For example, this was one of the company Jinyan in Fujian province. These were extraction factory and pipeline, and these were their products for carrageenan and agar or agarose. This was a carrageenan dairy fiber which is derived from cotton, and these were carrageenan dairy fiber properties and molecular weight testing. For example, these were expansive force and these were rotational ability. Compared with the apple, oat, or cayenne or wheat dietary fiber, carrageenan dietary fiber is have more advantage in expansive force or rotational ability. And this dietary fiber was now on the market, and most importantly, in recent years, our central government also filed one lines for the carrageenan derived plant capsule manufacture, which will be used for some medicine. And in conclusion, our perspective points China is now the largest carrageenan production and export country, and this certainly promote or stimulate those countries, especially in South Asia countries, for conducting more active large-scale cultivation of carrageenan like red seaweed. Still, the new products are highly need development for the downstream work, and multiply disciplines are needed to be integrated for analyze the genetic, physiological, or pathological properties of this carrageenan red seaweed, and we strange need or regional or global cooperation for collaborative work in the future. And in final, I should extend again my thanks to Dr. Alan in Canada, Dr. Philip the supporter in Roscoff in France, Dr. Annie in Philippines, and Dr. Grivo in Manado, Indonesia, and Dr. Wang Jing in the Institute of Oceanology. Thanks the local organizer and supporter for organizing this workshop. Thanks.